we start with the album? Doing really well. How did you, or did really well, and continue to do so, how did you celebrate the success?
It was my brother's birthday, so we was all together having a barbecue, and it was beautiful weather. And just had all my mates there and lots of alcohol, and the label sent some champagne and other people bought some champagne, so we had barbecue and alcohol. It was cool.
I want to ask you about the transition. It was obviously quite a conscious thing, the change in sound. But did you feel pressure to do it, or was it a decision you took yourself?
Mate, you know, there's a lot of cynical people out there that they think as soon as something's successful that it must be some genius at the record label, some mastermind that, you know, use me as a puppet to sell records. You know, if there really was someone like that existed, I'd like to meet him, you know. I think I'm that person, do you know what I mean? One day when I own my own record label, only someone like me would have the power to do that, you know, because I write my own shit and I write it from the heart. And this is a soul record that was kind of, you know, uncompromising and written from the heart, just like my first record was, you know. And the way everything's happened was not premeditated, it wasn't planned, it's just happened naturally. I set out to make a hip-hop record, which I made, and I made it about a soul singer. And I decided that when a soul singer was speaking with his own voice, it should be represented by soul. And so at first, this hip-hop album had like a couple of soul songs. And then the soul songs grew, and it ended up being like this 25-track album, which is half hip-hop, half soul. And the two styles of music just grated against each other. Because I was the star of the film, I guess, I was Strickland Banks, and I was the narrator. You couldn't distinguish when I was being one or the other until I split the albums. And my ambition was to sell the albums together, you know, have a hip-hop album, which was the story of Strickland Banks narrated by Plan B, and then the soul album, which was the story of Strickland Banks told in his own words. And, you know, this was a way I thought, you know, the label could have songs to promote the album on the radio, and then my original fans would also kind of have something. And the label didn't want to do it like that, you know. The label wanted to just focus on the soul record because that's the record they understood, and they didn't understand the hip-hop record, you know. And I'd be a fool to force them to put out a record that they wasn't going to push properly. The compromise was that if they split the albums, that I get sole copyright of my hip-hop album. And I think that's the best place for me to be putting music out independently. Well, hip-hop, the way I make hip-hop is never going to be able to be played on radio because it's too raw. You know, so there's no point a major label pumping lots of money into it because it's never going to sell enough for them to make their money back. So I might as well make hip-hop the way I do on my own kind of label, independently, and just put it out and try and sell small units. Well, the next record after this is Ballad of Belmarsh, and you know, I doubt I'll be getting main stage at festivals with it, but it's something I want to do, just like with the Painted Blacker mixtape. You know, I wanted to do that. I've done it. It was very underground. I think the Ballad of Belmarsh would be like that as well. It's just, for me, it's like I've created this kind of story, and if you want, you can find out more about it. If you don't, you can just, you know, listen to the songs as if they're pop songs, you know, catchy hooks. You know, my ambition is to make a film and to make a hip-hop album to go with it, and then maybe a novel afterwards, and then maybe a fucking Western musical.
Massive concept, and
yeah, it's a big concept, and at the moment this is just the start. Like, you know, this is just the, you know, the first phase, and we've started really strongly and started well. But for me, the whole project is a failure if the hip-hop record doesn't come out and if the film doesn't come out. You know, so it's a future plan, and it's going to take a while. You know what I mean?
Because you are a busy boy. You do a lot of acting as well, don't you? Is that something that...
I mean, you know, I only got into the acting to direct, and I learned what I needed to learn on the film sets in order to be a director, and I shot a short film, and I shot the Pieces music video for Chasing Status, and the short film that I shot in 2008 has helped me get the feature. I've written a feature off the back of that short film, and it's called Ill Manners. It's Manners Where You Live, MANORS, Ill Manners. And I'm going to shoot that in September. You know, making music is easy. I find it very easy to do, and I enjoy all types of music. And I just want a challenge, and the challenge for me is incorporating a story. So it can be music, on its own in a traditional sense, but then it can also be more, you know, like why do people watch The Wire or Sopranos? Because it's an ongoing story. And I just kind of figured, like, why doesn't anyone do that in hip-hop? You know, that would be something I'd be interested in hearing and buying if every song was a story and you had to kind of wait for the next installment. Like, I'd love that shit, you know.
Tell me, in terms of audiences, you know, what you get the most satisfaction from. Obviously, something like a festival, you get the live reaction, don't you? In terms of films you make, appear in, even obviously with writing as well, the reaction comes a lot later.
Yeah,
Does that make a lot of difference to you in terms of your enjoyment?
The films last forever, whereas a gig lasts for that one moment.
Yeah.
And they're very, very different kind of buzzes. I guess you maybe don't appreciate the gigs so much. You do on the night, but then the next day you're on to the next gig, especially when you're on a tour. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you got to focus on that gig. So you've got to get the last gig out of your mind. You know, you can't sit back and relax. You know, I don't want to just put a load of pop music out. I want to put records out there that people grow up listening to, you know, and you know, listen to over a summer, like, you know, a summer that they'll always remember and always remember that record. That's the kind of music I want to make because that's the effect music had on me.
So it's great to see you've got, you know, a long-term plan. In terms of the rest of the year, you're back out on the road, aren't you? Towards October time?
Yeah, I mean, now I just got to focus on making sure that, you know, that my voice is as strong as it can be, because I feel like a brand new singer, like I've only just found my voice.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to learn, you know, some songs are in falsetto, some kind of sung more from the stomach. I don't even know the technical term for it, you know, that's about it. But I mean, I feel like performance-wise, especially if you go to America, you know, they don't take no shit over there. You know, they don't look at rawness as, you know, a quality. You know, when you go over there, you've got to be fucking, you know, the best. And I think I've still got a long way to go.